Hello everyone! So, welcome to a new IA command video. As you may have noticed, there's been a certain lack of videos posted to the channel recently. TV Boy is taking an indefinite break from IACP for personal reasons, but do not fear. We will be trying to continue to make videos for you guys, maybe less consistently for now, but we'll try to get things sorted out. So, hello, I'm Rivian. I'm one of the newest steering committee members, and today I'll be talking about the new cards for the Empire that are coming out in Season 11 times. To start us off, let's see Dr. Royce Hemlock. This notorious geneticist from the Bad Batch is making his Imperial Assault debut as a leader technician meant to complement your standard officer package for Empire. So instead of just ordering things around, he will try to buff his team using Neurostim, while also debuffing and providing some crowd control for the enemy. So we will see his first special ability is Neurotoxin. So for a special action, you can choose a space within 3 spaces and roll 1 yellow die. All hostile figures on or adjacent to that space become weakened and suffer damage to the damage results. This is an attempt to both provide damage reduction for his team by weakening the enemy, and also try to combat grouped clumps of enemies, which is a very popular strategy currently, especially in Rebels and in Mercenary with Own Our List or Jedi lists. His second ability is Neurostim. For a special action, you can choose an adjacent friendly figure and roll 1 yellow die. If you roll the damage, that figure gains a damage token, and then if you roll a surge, it also gains a surge token. So this can give up to 1 damage and 1 surge to any of your friendly figures. You will notice it chooses an adjacent friendly figure, which makes Dr. Royce Hemlock a great user of, what's the card again? Advanced Comm System, of course, that's the one. He also retains much of the same attack profile as regular officers, with a Search for Focus, Search for +1, +3 accuracy, and the weak blue and yellow dice. So with this guy, he's not very tanky, he can be very fragile and die quickly, but he can provide a great boost to your team with those Neurostims. So expect to see him a lot with some Imperial Hunters who like Surges, Vaders, or just Trooper lists. Next up, we have the Purge Commander. So the Purge Commander was a very cool figure introduced earlier on in IACP, but struggled to find his niche in the current meta. One of the reasons was that his coordinated hunt required you to have line of sight to both the hunter and the person that the hunter was attacking, which sometimes made it quite difficult, since most Imperial hunters are melee. To help him out, we changed his coordinated hunt ability to only require line of sight to the friendly hunter that is attacking. So, the problem was, most melee hunters would whack somebody in the head, but the Purge Commander who's standing behind them could only see the hunter and not their target. So now this should help give more rerolls to your team and make all your attacking hunters just that more efficient. Nothing else about him has changed, but from playtesting, this has seemed to be quite a nice buff and definitely makes him worthwhile in some heavy attacking lists. Finally, for the deployment cards, we have the Royal Guard Champion, another fan favorite. This has always been one of my favorite characters in the game, one of the coolest units, but it was really hard to make him work and justify him at 10 points. To combat that, we gave him 2 new abilities. So first of all, we gave him Reach. This is a big one. Not only would it help with his brutality, making it much more consistent, it also helps with his Executor, now giving him effectively a radius of 3 to attack. What this does is it gives him very good target acquisition and makes him a very dangerous threat on the field. At speed 6 and reach, he can effectively attack up to 8 spaces away. Combine that with some movement effects and you've got a rocket going in and out of battle and delivering a flurry of blows. The next ability we added is Overpower. If you've already played Royal Guard Champion, you will notice that his Both his defense and offense were very swingy, and he could both fold very quickly or just not deal a lot of damage, which is very unfortunate from a 10-point figure. We decided to give him a special reroll instead of just the generic, professional or the same reroll as Grand Inquisitor. Instead, he now has Overpower. So, while attacking or defending, you may choose one red or black die. The player that rolled that die must reroll that die. So this gives him a nice buff both on offense, allowing you to reroll your red die, which is where most of your damage symbols come from, or reroll an opposing black die, which, despite his Pierce 2 and plus 2, it can be quite efficient if someone rolls, let's say, a triple block, and then you reroll that into a block or an evade or whatever. Where this really shines, in my opinion, is on defense, allowing you to reroll your opponent's red die or your own black die. With 2 defense dice, it was important not to allow yourself to reroll into a dodge, but rerolling your black definitely adds that little consistency that he was lacking from a 10-point figure, because I've had the experience multiple times of rerolling a single block and a blank on the white dice and getting thwapped for about 7 or 8, and that felt really bad. So this definitely adds some consistency and just makes him feel like a much bigger threat on the board. And finally, for our skirmish upgrade, we have Imperial Citadel. So, this card reads, for 1 point, whenever a friendly Imperial figure is defeated, for each power token on that figure, place a matching power token on this card. At the start of the friendly Imperial figure's activation, it may gain 1 power token from this card. At the start of each round, place 1 damage token or 1 block token on this card. So, for any MTG fans out there, you will see that this card is inspired by the Ozolith as a way to preserve resources that you put onto other figures. This card will go great in token-centric lists with Thrawn, Krennic, Royce Hemlock, or really any card or token generator. This makes sure that those tokens that you put on your figures don't go to waste. So let's say I'm playing with my speeder bikes, or I'm playing with scouts, and one of them dies while having an offense or even defensive token. I can let it die and then put it on this card so that one of my other figures will be able to use it next round. It also just works fine on its own as a way to generate free damage tokens and free block tokens. Over the course of a grindy game, it can generate more value than something like extra armor, which is very front-loaded. So I think there's a nice distinction going on there where both cards have their specific uses. So yeah, this one is a very cool card, and I love to play it personally in a bunch of Imperial lists. Alright, now let's move on to the command cards. Our first command card is a unique command card for Dr. Royce Hemlock called Clone Reinforcements. So for 2 special actions, you may choose a defeated friendly non-droid, non-unique trooper with a figure cost of 5 or less and place it in an empty adjacent square. So, this sounds like a lot of restrictions, but mostly it's there to safeguard for future cards so it doesn't immediately break cloned reinforcements. Because currently, this still means that you can bring back some dewbacks, some scout troopers, some speeder bikes, stormtroopers, whatever. So this is a kind of more flexible form of reinforcement, yet it is unique to Dr. Royce Hemlock. Do note that it does not bring the figure back exhausted, so using this during a round means you can get an extra attacker for that round. So this is a very sweet card. We're still testing to make sure it's not too good, but for now the results have been pretty positive, and we're very excited to see you guys play with that. Next up is You Will Not Deny Me, an infamous card made for Fifth Brother. So this is his unique command card, and was released in Season 9. However, in Season 9, got a probationary vote, I think that's the word, or was voted on probation, and then got a disapproval vote during the Season 10 voting, which means we had to redesign it completely. So instead of focusing on his card tutoring effect, or card drawing effect, we decided to try to mitigate his weaknesses as an expensive melee figure. So this card reads, when this card is discarded, place it on your Fifth Brother deployment card. You cannot be defeated, you ignore harmful conditions. When a hostile figure is defeated, recover 2 damage and return this card to the game box. So what's special about this card compared to something like Second Chance is that it is played when discarded, meaning that it combos really well with Zillow, but also doesn't last the entire round, so they do have a chance to kill your fifth brother before he can play this card, or at the start of the round. Next up, it also ignores harmful conditions. What this means is that he can still gain them, but as long as this card is on his deployment, they will not affect him, so he won't have to pay the strain costs for bleed, he doesn't lose a surge from weaken, etc, etc. However, as soon as this card falls off, he will still have to deal with those conditions and remove them. Finally, this card triggers whenever a hostile figure is defeated, which makes for some interesting gameplay decisions. So do you focus fifth brother and then have your figure defeated, or does the fifth brother player purposefully not kill your figures right away so he can get more value out of his fifth brother? So these are all things that have been brought up during playtesting, but so far this card seems balanced and seems fun, and should definitely help fifth brother stand out a bit, since public opinion was that he wasn't super good yet, mostly because he didn't have a great command card to go along. Finally, our last command card for Empire is Darth Vader's Lord of the Sith. So this card reads, use when a hostile figure is defeated to interrupt to move up to 2 spaces. Then you may use the Force Choke or perform an attack. So, as many long-term Imperial Assault fans will know, Vader's original command card was never really used since it couldn't give any bonus attacks or Force Chokes, as a 3-cost card for a 13-cost figure. So, we decided to change him to help him keep up with the new meta of just bringing a slew of very efficient 5 or 6 point attackers. Vader currently wasn't doing too hot, though this new map rotation is definitely helping, but he was just getting overwhelmed by the sheer number of attacks that opposing lists could put onto him, and he was limited to usually 2, maybe 3 attacks around. With this new card, we're hoping to give that little oomph, that little boost that he needed to really rise up to the top of and secure his spot as a worthy 13-point figure again. This is a really cool card since it can trigger off your parting blows and allow you to perform an attack or a Force Choke before the stun applies onto you. In between your 2 pummel attacks, you can use this during an opponent's turn, or you can use this in combination with Palpatine to tempt, so there's a variety of situations where this card can really shine. Also, giving you the chance to use Force Choke or an attack means that even if you are farther away or you're during the approach, you can still get some value off of your Lord of the Sith card. We decided to keep it at a 3-point cost, though, because Vader is really defined by his command card combos with Parting Blows, Dark Energy, Pummels, stuff like that. So keeping this as a 3-cost card means that it's not necessarily an auto-include in all Vader lists, and still requires some decent build around to make this worthwhile. So, that's it for the Empire. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This was the first time recording one for me, so let me know how I did and try and give me some feedback in the comments. And I hope you're as excited as I am for all these new cards. Next up, we will be going over the Scum, and we will finish off with Rebels in a 3rd video. So, thank you, and have a nice day.